Okay, so today is advanced objection handling. It's week 46 in the Lord's year 2020. Not much time left in 2020, thank God. Although 2021 is probably going to have a lot more challenges to come our way. So we're going to start off like we always start off with the fundamentals. So number one is you can make up in skill where you lack in numbers. You can make up in skill where you lack in numbers. Pretty much what that means is for those that practice, you get better and you don't have to talk to many people. For those who choose not to practice, or people new into telephone prospecting or new to advanced objection handling, or not even advanced objection handling, but just objection handling in general, well, if you don't practice, you're not going to get good. And if you're not going to get good, that means that every time you're in front of a consumer, you're just going to be winging it. And in our market, winging it is equal to about anywhere between on average is about a $20,000 commission check. So I would say that people should practice and increase skill set. Number two is the person who asks the questions controls the conversation. The person who asks the question will always control the conversation. So as you practice your objection handling, practice answering questions, practice your rebuttals, but it has to end with another question. You can't just leave it there, right? There are techniques called the strategic pause. We're not going to go over that, but in most cases, always ask a question. Number three, you cannot change a person's perception or belief. Only they can. Look, if I tell you guys something, like if I tell you about religion, if I tell you about politics, you're not going to believe me. The only way that you're going to be able to change a person's perception, change a seller's perception, change a buyer's perception is not by telling them something, right? Because their belief is more important than your belief. The only way you can do that is actually have them think about it. And the only way that you can initiate somebody to think about something that you want them to think about is by asking them a question and then let them come to that. Number four, you don't have a lead until you know their why and their when. Now, I'm going to back up a little bit on that. If you're prospecting, there's three criteria that you need to know before you get to the why and when. Actually, no, two criteria. Number one is they own a home. There's absolutely no reason why you should actually be calling someone if they don't own a home, unless they want to buy a home. But for this purposes, for the people that in our office, for the people that I talk to, 90% of the time should be focused on generating listing leads. So in order to do that, they got to own a home. Number two, they got to live in your market area. Now I'm saying 3 to 5 miles of where you live. If they live outside that, that's a secondary market area. If they live outside that, then they're not even in your market area and you should consider referring it out. For instance, I live in Irvine, California. For those of you who don't know, that's it's about 20 minutes south of Disneyland. If somebody listed owns a home in San Francisco, that's not a good prospect for me, right? I'm looking for somebody local. So they own a home. Number two is that they live in your market area. And then number three, they want to sell it, right? Those are the three prospecting criteria. Now, you don't know if you can find somebody who owns a home. You can find somebody that lives in your area. We can get lists. What we don't know is, do they want to sell it? And the quickest point from A to Z to finding out if somebody wants to sell their home is by picking up the phone and calling. Pre-COVID, it could be going and knocking on their door and letting them answer and asking them, right? So, but then you don't have a lead. That's a prospect. That's a prospecting list. That's a demographic. You don't have a lead until you know their why and their when. So once you've hit all those three boxes, the next line of questioning is to identify their why. Why are you moving? Why do you want to sell? And when they're going to do it, right? One is their motivation. The other one is the temperature of their motivation. Okay, number four, that's number five. Now number five, when in doubt, mirror their objection as a question. When in doubt, mirror their objection as a question. Brett, we want you to reduce your commission. You want me to reduce my commission? Pause, right? Next person who talks loses. Because if you repeat their objection as a question to them, in most cases, they're going to give you a little bit more information, right? Brett, we want you to reduce your commission. You want me to reduce my commission? Yeah, because we talked to, Sally Jones, and Sally Jones said that she'd do it for 4%. She said that she'd do it for 4%. Well, yeah, because, this, that, and the other, right? You could do that all day long. I mean, they might get a little bit annoyed by it if you do it more than a couple times, but you guys get the point. What is it? 6. You'll never get better at anything unless you practice. It's God's honest truth. I mean, if you look at anything that you're good at, you got good at it because you practice. There is natural ability, but that only takes you so far. I'd take a strong work ethic and strong practice ethic over natural ability any day of the week. And that's why you guys are here, right? That's why you guys are here on Facebook, why you guys are here watching live. It's because you strive to get better. So kudos to you guys. And the last one, everyone makes time for things that are important. Everyone makes time for things that are important. If you don't make time for it, then, well, it's just not that important. Some people wake up at 5 in the morning. I'm one of those 5 o'clock risers. I do that because I'm making time for things that I don't have in the normal day of time. You guys saw my schedule. It's very time blocked out. I don't have a whole lot of time during the day. But I make time for things that are important. And when it comes to role playing, if you're saying that you can't role play because you don't have time, you're not saying it's because you don't have time. You're saying because there's something more important to do than that. Might be eating potato chips, might be going to the gym, whatever it may be. That's your personal reason. But accept the fact that it's not that you don't have time in the day. It's that it's not important enough for you to make time in the day. So without further ado, let's jam on. Oh, I do want to mention, we're in week 46. That means we have about 34 work days left, depending on if you guys how much time you're taking off on Christmas and Thanksgiving and New Year's. But in typical time frames, there's about 35 days left. Now, typically the average closing time, now that gives us about, 45 calendar days to the end of the year. It takes anywhere between 35 and 45 days to actually close something. So there is still time to generate now business. So don't let your foot off the gas. There's still time to get now business. But even so, your fourth quarter activities, your November, December activities is going to directly relate to your closings and your production in your January and February, your first quarter production. So now's not the time to be taking the foot off the gas. Now's the time to be slamming your foot down on the gas, right? It's like watching professional sports. When you're watching football or basketball, the fourth quarter is always the most interesting because everybody's just like, they're like screwing around. There's a lot of things going on. That's how we have to treat real estate right now. Okay, now going into this, the objection of I want to wait until after after the elections is gone. Now it's not gone. Now it's going to be merged into it. I want to see what happens to the outcome of the elections. Okay, that's probably going to be the new one. Haven't heard that one come yet, but let's just err on the side of caution and prepare for it. However, we still have, I want to wait until spring. I want to wait until after Christmas. I want to wait until after Thanksgiving. I want to wait until fill in the blank. They're all the same, right? Actually, I'm jumping ahead. That is right here. So let's go with we're going to wait until after Christmas. Okay, we talked about this a few weeks ago. Mr. and Ms. Seller, that's, a lot of real estate agents, or excuse me, Mr. and Ms. Seller, a lot of sellers are saying that they want to wait until after Christmas into the next year, right? So what I'm doing is I'm acknowledging what they're saying, and I'm putting them into a category that they're not alone, right? They're getting acceptance because other agents or other sellers are doing it as well. So, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I totally get that you want to wait until after the Christmas, maybe into the new year. A lot of homeowners are doing that. But what is it that's important to you about waiting until next year? What is it that's important? Okay, now a few weeks ago, maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, I went through a whole training. All I did was objections is, what is it important to you? It's a very common objection or a very common rebuttal or a very good rebuttal that you can do. What is it that's important to you until waiting after Christmas? What is it that's important to you until waiting after the elections? What is it important to you until waiting till the first of the year? And then let them answer, because now this was like a level 1 objection, right? A very surface letter, a very kind of a blow off objection. Once you rebuttal it and you ask them what is it that's important to them about that, now you're going to get a little bit deeper into what their true objection is. Well, we're going to have, there's going to be a lot of time off. Well, we don't think that home sells, I think they sell for a higher price next year. Well, we have family coming in. We don't want to inconvenience it. All of those are okay objections, but you need to be able to get to that actual objection. If all they're going to do is say, we're going to wait until after Christmas, and you're like, okay, well, cool. Well, I'll put in my notes to call you back on January 1st. That's not a rebuttal, right? That's I'm chewing off my arm to get off the phone with you rebuttal. So when you say, what is it important to you to waiting after Christmas or waiting until the first of the year, they're going to respond. And then your response is going to be, well, look, I totally get it. That makes complete sense. You're making them right. However, if it meant adding or costing tens of thousands of dollars to your bottom line, would it still be that important to you? Right now we're changing the scenario, right? Because here's the thing, as you guys have been on this before, look, there's two schools of thought here with this whole COVID and with this whole economy thing. Number one, it's all sunshine and rainbows. Number two, it's the worst thing. It's the opposite of that. And one of them is going to be wrong. So we have a 100% probability that you're going to sell your home for the most money in the quickest amount of time right now in the history of planet Earth or forever. Or we take in a gamble, a 50-50 gamble that you might make the same amount of money going down. But, the gamble is there's a 50% chance that you could start chasing the market down. Well, why do you think that we might be chasing the market down? Look, it's not me. I'm not the one who thinks it's going to. It's just, I follow both sides of the scenario. All I'm just simply pointing out is that it's a gamble. Would you agree that it's a gamble? Well, how do you mean it's a gamble? Well, do you feel that there's a lot of certainty going into 2021, or do you feel there's a lot of uncertainty going into 2021? I think most people would agree it's uncertain. Okay, so uncertainty going to a market, half really, really smart people on one side say it's going to be all sunshine and rainbows. The other people on the other side say it's going to be the opposite of that. Can we agree that one of them are going to be wrong? Yeah, one of them's going to be wrong. Okay, so you have 100% probability that you sell your home for the most money you've ever been worth ever, and fast. Average time in my market is 22 days. Or we take a 50-50 gamble that you start chasing the market down. Now, is it that important to you to wait until next year to gamble those odds? Now, they might say yes, right? Your job is not to get them just to give you a charity yes. Your job is to get them to think about it, analyze it, and come to an answer. And then you can formulate your response after that. Okay, so that's we're going to wait until after Christmas, New Year's, Easter, whatever. I mean, you fill in the blank. Let's go back to the first one. I'm not interested in selling my home right now. Okay, so you call up. You introduce yourself. You ask them if they're, you know that they're a homeowner. It's like a garden elf. I'm not interested in selling my home right now. Oh, that's interesting, Mr. Seller. You said that you're not interested in selling right now. Does that mean that you might be interested in selling in the near future? Say in the next, 2 or 3 months? Okay, now that opens up, okay, now we're clarifying. The objection was very surface level, very vague. You asked a question that's going to make it more specific. Okay, well, no, we were thinking probably in the next 3 to 6 months. 3 to 6 months. Wow, if you don't mind me asking, why are you looking to sell? Okay, we know that they own a home. We know that they live in our market area. We now know that they want to sell within the next 3 to 6 months. Now we want to know why. Why are you selling? Well, whatever it may be. Okay, we're not going to go dive deep down in that because I got other objections to go over. But if I'm not interested in selling my home right now, that's interesting, Mr. or Mrs. Seller. Now, I can't help but pick up that you said that you're not interested in selling right now. Does that mean that perhaps you're interested in selling in the near future, say in the next 2 or 3 months? No, we're not looking at selling in the next 2 or 3 months, probably within the next, 4 or 5 months. Oh, in the next 4 or 5 months, if you don't mind me asking, why are you planning on moving? Why do you want to sell this home? Well, we need to sell this home because we want to move closer to our kids in, Alaska. Oh, so you have kids in Alaska that you want to move to. That's fantastic. Well, look, let me ask you a question. Do you want to actually be moved in 4 or 5 months? Or do you actually want to just start the process in 4 or 5 months? Well, no, our goal would be actually move in the next 4 or 5 months. Oh, your goal will be the next 4 or 5 months. Okay, so now you can handle that objection a little bit more and you have a better timeline. Okay, our focus right now, guys, is finding somebody who wants to be sold in the next 60 days. Okay, that should be your focus. You should have laser focus right now. So this person, if their whole game plan isn't to actually sell until 4 or 5 months, it's premature for you to actually do things, but this gives you an inside track to start nurturing on them, start getting content, start staying in front of them, start giving them things of value, right? So that's where it's at. Now, if they said that they want to move to Alaska in, January, February, oh, so you want to move to Alaska to be near your kids in January, February. Okay, so let me ask you a question. Do you want to be moved at that time or do you want to start moving at that time? Well, we want to start moving at that time. Okay, do you know what the time frame is typically from the start to finish to selling a home? No, I don't. Well, it couldn't take anywhere between 45 and 60 days. So if we started right now, that could put you in a timeline to make it so you can actually move, right? So does that make sense to you? Yeah. Does that change things for you? Well, yeah, it does change for you. Okay, so is there maybe sometime this week that I might be able to meet with you and just share with you some of the things that I do to sell homes? Would you be open to doing something like that? Well, yeah, I'd be open to meeting with you. Terrific. So I'm looking at my calendar. Are afternoons or mornings better for you? Well, typically afternoons after 3 o'clock is better for me. Okay, so I'm looking, so today's Tuesday. So would tomorrow or Wednesday at 3 o'clock, I think tomorrow is Wednesday, tomorrow or Thursday at 3 o'clock work for you? Yeah, Thursday would work for me. Terrific. So before I come out, I'm going to send you a packet of information that's going to share with you, everything I do to get homes sold, how awesome I am, what I charge, how much you can net, what's worth in your home. Do you think you'll be able to view that packet before I come out on Thursday at 3 o'clock? Yeah, I think I could do that. Terrific. Okay, so that's how it is. I'm not interested in selling my home. Moving on. What commission rate do you charge? Boy, we never get that one, do we? What commission rate do you charge? Mr. and Mrs. Seller, that's a very valid question. I get that a lot from homeowners. If you don't mind me asking, is there something specific you're looking for? I'm not answering that question just yet until I get more information, right? Is there something specific that you're looking for? Well, I know that the going rate is, I got people that are saying that they charge 4%. I get this thing on my doorstep every day that somebody says 1% listing. I get all kinds of things. I was just curious, what commission rate do you charge? Okay, well, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, that's a really great question. Here's what I'd like to do. I'd like to send you I'd like to see if I can't spend some time to actually meet with you and actually share with you what I do to get homes sold, and then outline after what I do on how, even with the commission rate that I charge, that you'll net more money in the quickest amount of time. Most of the time, that's what sellers want to do, is net the most money in the quickest amount of time. Is that true for you? Yes, it is. Okay. So the goal here is not to really hammer this objection while you're on the phone. The goal here is to go for the appointment, let them go through the process. Now, here's the thing, is that if they ask you again what the commission rate you charge, you're going to have to answer it, right? You can't be that elusive salesperson. So number one is they asked me the question, what commission rate do you charge? I said, that's a really great question. Is there something specific that you're looking for? And then they're going to answer that. And then if they ask what the commission rate you charge, and then I kind of give them a little bit more information and then go for the appointment. But then if they ask me that again and I blow it off, if I don't answer them directly, then they're not going to, you're probably not even going to get the appointment. Well, Mr. and Seller, the typical listing rate that I charge is 2.93% for the listing side. But then I actually have to have a conversation with sellers like yourself on what kind of compensation that you would provide if another agent were to represent the buyer, right? So would you be open sometime this week for me to come by, take a look at your house, see what the condition of the home is worth, and then I can share with you specifically, not just about how much your home is worth and what I do to get homes sold, but I can actually talk to you about, even with the fee that I charge, how you're going to net more money in the quickest amount of time. Would you be open to a 30-minute conversation sometime this week? Yeah, I might be open to that. Okay, then you go through the process. What time is it? 8:50. We're doing good on time. Next one. Okay, we already did that one. We're going to wait until after Christmas. We already did that one. I plan on listing with a discount broker just to get on the MLS. I haven't gotten one of these for a long time. I haven't even had someone come to me. This isn't really not that big that I find in Orange County, but this would be something that comes up often with for sale by owners. Give me a second, guys. So I plan on listing with a discount broker just to get on the MLS. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I totally understand that. A lot of homeowners feel that just getting on the MLS and just paying a small fee to a discount broker is going to net them more money. Do you feel that way as well? So look, guys, I'm already pre-labeling what I believe their intent is, right? I'm pre-labeling, so I'm defining, I'm saying, look, a lot of homeowners think that if they go with a discount broker and just pay us, $500 to get on the MLS, that they're going to net more money. Is that true for you as well? Okay, let's not beat around the bush. Yeah, that is what I'm going to do with it. Okay, so at the same time, most homeowners want to sell their home for the most money in the quickest amount of time with the lowest amount of legal liability possible. Is that also true for you? Notice how I threw the third one in on there, legal liability. Okay, especially if you're in Southern California or anywhere in California, legal liability. Well, yeah, I do want to sell my home for the most money in the quickest amount of time. But what do you mean about the, legal liability? Well, if you're going to pay to get on the MLS, how long has it been since you've actually sold a house? Well, it's been 14 years. 14 years. Wow, you've lived here for 14 years? Yeah, 14 years. Wow, good for you. Okay, so do you know how many documents? Do you know the process? Do you know the legal ramifications on disclosures and timelines and such that's going to help you go through the process of getting the home sold? Well, no, I don't, but the discount broker said that they would help me with that. Okay, so the discount broker who charges you very little said that they would help you with that. Yeah, do you know how many transactions they've actually sold? Well, no, I don't. Okay, well, that's interesting. So do you know how many transactions I've sold? No, I don't. Okay, so now I opened up another ball of wax. The key here is to ask questions to get them to the point of view that they want to have the least amount of legal liability, sell the home for the most money in the quickest amount of time. The only way you're going to do that is through questions. Now, here's the thing. Here's the one thing that you got to accept. You will lose based on price. People lose all the time on price, right? They might, number one, they might not have enough equity to sell the home. Number two, they might not see the value in the service that you provide to pay an inflated, a higher commission. And that's going to be on you, right? You have to strengthen your value proposition. See, in absence of value, in absence of a different value proposition, right? If they see you and the other agent identically the same, right? Okay, they put on the MLS, I put on the MLS. Okay, check. They say that they're going to send out postcards. This guy says that they're going to send out postcards. This guy's going to do this. This guy's going to do that. This guy's going to do this. This guy's going to do that, right? If everything's the same and somebody's going to charge 5, 4.5, 4%, and you're at 6%, and everything seems identical, right? You're going to lose out on price, right? One of the things that you're going to be able to differentiate yourself with is your personal brand, right? In alignment with whatever brand that you're aligned with, be it what other major brand, maybe you're with a boutique, who knows? But your personal brand message, your unique selling proposition, and the things that you provide. One of those is experience. Some of those are the number of homes you sell. We have an agent in my office, a new agent in my office, newer, who has like 50,000 followers on WeChat and YouTube. That's a huge audience. So that's part of the value proposition. So you need to strengthen your value proposition. Otherwise, no matter what you say, you're going to lose out on price. All right, guys. So I'm going to close it up on that. Thank you for those of you who attended live on Zoom and on Facebook. Thank you for attending live. If you're interested, for those of you that are in the, actually, you know what? I got to go. So I'm going to tie this into to be continued on Thursday. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you later. Bye.